welcome to my kitchen. In this video I'm going to run through how to make some lamb samosas. Before we get going, let's have a look at the ingredients that you will need. First up, you will need some oil. You can use either olive oil or sunflower oil, that's up to you. You're then going to need some meat, some minced meat, so I've chosen minced lamb. If you don't like lamb, that's totally fine, just swap it out for a different mince, such as beef. This one's frozen, so I am going to stick with the lamb for this one. I then have some mango chutney and curry paste. It's up to you which type of curry paste you would like to use. Here I've got both tikka curry paste and I have some Thai red curry paste. I'm going to go with the tikka curry paste. I think it will taste better with the lamb, but it's your preference as to which one you would like to use. 100 grams frozen peas, already weighed out in the bowl. 4 spring onions, ready for me to cut up. 1 clove of garlic, and the pastry. We're going to make our samosas using phyllo pastry. So you buy this ready-made in the packet, roll it out and put your fillings in there. There are a range of pastries available, so if you really wanted to swap out something else, such as, for example, puff pastry, you can do. However, I would suggest that phyllo pastry is the best option for these samosas. So I've moved the camera so that you can just see my hands on the chopping board here. As the first step for us to do is to finely slice the onion and chop the garlic. So I'm going to start with the garlic, so move my onion out of the way. First step, we're going to take off the bottom of the garlic here, so that's that end that's kind of flat. So this is just 1 clove of garlic here that's been taken out of the bulb. So the bulb is the large piece that you buy in the shop, and then you split it into the cloves. So I've removed the outer layer of the garlic there, and now I'm just going to finely slice. So I'm going to use the claw grip, so your fingers are like a claw, like this, so that keeps your fingers nice and out of the way, like so, all the way to the end. And then I might need to do a bridge at the end there to get in there. And then I'm going to go along, and again, keeping your fingers well out of the way, I'm just going to slice this garlic into lots and lots of little bits. If you have a garlic press, so if you have something like this, then you could use this. Now, personally, I prefer to just chop the garlic up very, very finely. I'm now going to move on to the spring onions. So these have an outer layer that can be removed. So I peel off the outer layer like so. Once the outer layer is all removed, you can then start to finely slice. So to finely slice, you're going to remove the very end, this rooty bit just here. Again, that goes to one side, and then keeping your fingers out of the way, you slice all the way to the end of your spring onion, all the way up, all the way up. It is up to you how much of this dark green end you would like to include. It's all edible, so you don't need to waste it. Most people get to the part where it starts to split before they stop chopping. Personally, I don't like to waste anything. I like to go up a little bit further. Adds a little bit of colour to the samosa filling as well, so I'll go to about here. And then that's all that's wasted from my spring onion. So I have another 3 of those to chop before we can start cooking with our mince. So I have finished chopping my spring onions and my clove of garlic. First up is to put a tablespoon or so of oil into the pan and turn the heat on. Going to want it quite high, not the hottest heat, but just over midway. First thing we're going to put in is we're going to put the lamb. This comes in a pack of 500 grams, and we're going to need 250 grams of this. So with my spatula, what I'm going to do is just cut it in half in the packet and put half of this lamb into the pan, like so. There we go. So that's half a pack, 250 grams of lamb. Break that up a little bit and wait for it to start getting hot. Whilst I'm waiting for the lamb to be heating up, I am going to season. So a little bit of salt, so and a bit of pepper too. There we go. I'm now going to wait just for a moment for the lamb to start cooking before I add any other ingredients. So my lamb is now starting to cook through. You can see that it's changed colour from the pinky colour that it was in the packet to a nice brown. Now is the time to add in the tikka paste, 2 tablespoons, so quite a lot. So 1, 2. Next I need to add in the onion and the garlic, so I will take my chopping board to the pan and use my knife to slide this straight in. You can see that I've kept quite a lot of the green tops of the spring onion as I was chopping that. Give that a little bit of a mix all the way through. Smells pretty good. Let that cook for another couple of minutes and then we will go in with the peas and the mango chutney as well. Now I'm going to go in with the peas. There we go. So although these peas are frozen, they do not take a huge amount of time to cook, and remember the samosas will also be cooked in the oven as well once they've been wrapped in the phyllo pastry. So we don't want to overcook those peas. We want them to remain quite firm at the end. So they only need less than a minute. I'm going to turn the hob off now, and now I'm going to add in my 1 tablespoon of mango chutney for a little bit of sweetness. And I'm just going to take this off the heat and leave it to one side whilst I get my phyllo pastry ready to make our samosa parcels. So that's the filling for your samosas ready. Next step will be to put your oven onto 180 degrees, so it's preheated. I have myself a tray and some non-stick grease-proof baking paper. I have onto my tray, like so. Then we get out our phyllo pastry and we're going to start to wrap up our samosas. So I've moved the camera again so you can see what my hands are doing. When you take your phyllo pastry out of the packet, it will be in some plastic. So we'll just remove that. This is way too big for you to make your samosas. So what we're going to do, so I've got my chopping board here, is we're going to cut this length into 3. So I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to do it by eye. So I'm going to do a line about there and about there as well. So with my knife, I'm going to chop all the way through, keeping your fingers out of the way, and again, all the way through, like so. This then gives us one long sheet that we can use to wrap our filling for our samosas. So the phyllo pastry is a layered pastry. So after you've cut your phyllo pastry into 3, you can put 2 of those pieces to one side and roll out the 3rd one into one long strip. You're not going to need all of the phyllo pastry for the amount of filling that you have. So there's lots and lots of layers here, and we're only going to use 1 layer per samosa. I'm going to take the first layer here and I'm going to place it in front of me. I'm now going to put a tablespoon of filling right at the very, very end of the layer. So I'm going to wrap from my left to my right over here. And we're going to want to create a triangle shape in the end. So we want to fold up this strip here to create a triangle piece like that. So this is the way that I do it. There are different ways, and if you look on YouTube, there are plenty of different video tutorials that you can watch if you would like to do it a different way to what I'm about to show. So what I do is I lift up this corner here and I take it all the way across to the top there. You might have to do a little bit of squishing of the filling inside. I then take this line that I've just created here and I go straight over like that. So you can see the start of my triangle. I'm now going to fold across this diagonal here. So I fold across and I created another half again. And I like so, like that, and across like that. And then I'm left with one last little tab at the side here. So I've got some sunflower oil that I put into a little dish, and all I do is I dip my finger in there and use that to secure the end of my samosa, like so. And then that goes on the baking tray, ready to go in the oven. And you take the next layer of your phyllo pastry and you do the same thing again. And here we have my finished samosas ready to go in the oven. I was able to make 18 out of the lamb mince filling that I had made. I was a little bit stingy with a couple of them, so I think actually 12 to 14 might have been a better number, but hopefully they will taste good. They go in for 20 minutes. Halfway through their cooking, at 10 minutes, you'll need to take them out and you'll need to turn the samosas over so they're nice and golden on both sides. Back in the oven for another 10 minutes just to finish them off. And they should be looking something a little bit like this. Leave them to cool before you enjoy. And there we have it, homemade lamb samosas.